Dreadful Seconds isn't just a channel, it's a thriving community of those who love to be scared. Share theories, discuss plots, and connect with horror lovers from around the globe. Here, you're never alone in your fear. Are you bold enough to embrace the darkness? Like, share, and subscribe to Dreadful Seconds. Unlock a treasure trove of horror and keep the nightmares coming. Join us, and let your adventure into the unknown begin today. Your membership in the fear-filled realm awaits.
The Haunting of the Old Lighthouse. I've always been drawn to the sea, its vastness, its mystery. When I got the chance to spend a week in a remote coastal town for work, I jumped at the opportunity. The town was small and quiet, its charm lying in its isolation. At the edge of the cliffs, there stood an old, decrepit lighthouse that no longer served its purpose. Local stories painted it as cursed, where sailors' souls lingered, mourning their lost lives. Curiosity overtook me one stormy evening. The wind howled, and waves crashed violently against the rocks below. The townsfolk's warnings echoed in my mind, but I dismissed them as superstition. With a flashlight and my camera, I decided to explore the lighthouse, eager to capture its eerie beauty. As I pushed open the heavy, rusted door, it creaked, the sound swallowed by the storm outside. Inside, the air was cold and damp, smelling of salt and decay. My flashlight illuminated the spiral staircase, and I began to climb, each step groaning under my weight. Halfway up, I felt it, a sharp, icy breeze brushing past me, though no windows were open. "Hello," I called out, my voice trembling. The only reply was silence. My heart raced, but I convinced myself it was the wind playing tricks. At the top, the lantern room was shattered and exposed, the remnants of glass scattered across the floor. I took a photo, but as the camera's flash lit the space, I saw a figure in the corner, a shadowy silhouette, tall and unmoving. The figure vanished as quickly as the flash dimmed. My pulse hammered in my ears, but I refused to let fear control me. "Who's there?" I demanded, my voice shaking. This time, a faint whisper responded, almost inaudible over the storm. "Leave." I froze. The voice was otherworldly, raspy, distant, and yet terrifyingly close. My flashlight flickered, the beam barely holding as I scanned the room. It landed on a weathered journal lying on a dusty table. Against all logic, I picked it up, flipping through pages filled with scrawled handwriting, diagrams of the sea, and chilling accounts of shipwrecks. The last entry caught my eye: "Beware the shadow of the drowned. They seek vengeance and will not rest until the lighthouse falls." As I read, I felt a heavy pressure on my chest, as though the air itself was alive and closing in around me. Then, the faint sound of wet footsteps echoed behind me. I spun around, but nothing was there. Panic surged, and I bolted down the stairs, the journal clutched tightly in my hand. As I reached the base, the door slammed shut with a force that shook the walls. I yanked it open and stumbled into the storm, gasping for breath. I ran back to the small inn where I was staying, dripping wet and shaking. The journal sat on the desk in my room, its presence an unsettling reminder of what I had seen. Sleep was impossible, every creak of the wooden floorboards sounded like footsteps approaching. At around 3 a.m., the power went out. My room was plunged into darkness, save for the dim glow of my phone. I turned on the flashlight feature and aimed it at the journal, deciding to read more in hopes of finding answers. The pages seemed to have changed. Words I didn't remember were scrawled in uneven handwriting: "The shadow follows. Burn the journal, or it will claim you too." A cold chill ran down my spine. Suddenly, the room temperature dropped sharply. I could see my breath in the beam of light, and then, it appeared. The shadow. It stretched across the walls, larger and more menacing than before. It moved toward me, slow and deliberate, its edges rippling like smoke. Desperation took over. I grabbed the journal and ran to the small fireplace in the room, fumbling with matches. The shadow closed in, its formless mass looming over me. I lit the match and tossed it onto the journal. Flames erupted, consuming the pages. The shadow let out an ear-piercing shriek, shaking the walls before dissipating into nothingness. The fire died down, leaving only ashes behind. The power returned, and the room warmed, but I knew I couldn't stay. I left the town at dawn, vowing never to return. Even now, I sometimes hear faint whispers when I'm alone. The shadow may be gone, but its memory lingers, reminding me that some mysteries are better left undiscovered.